when fuck-ups are part of the magic. I have planned it all out. I have everything organised. I have even done it before, so I know the lay of the land and feel fairly confident. And then there is a fuck-up. And as I watch it all unfold in front of me, I know that this will either be a situation that I will have to accept and put down to experience, or the fuck-up has graced me with its presence to add a layer of magic that would not have been possible had it not turned up. The latter happened to me last week. Let me tell you about it. Last Tuesday, I held an online Belaine Gathering. The theme was to work with the golden shadow, and each participant was going to explore a virtuous, positive attribute that had been reflected to them by another, something that they couldn't see in themselves and felt a degree of discomfort around. I have been holding online gatherings for a while, and I know more or less what to expect. I was set up with my external microphone, which I use because I learned long ago that without one sharing music and speaking over it for a guided journey on Zoom is not good. This information was gleaned from one of the former type fuck-ups, where I had to accept that what had happened was shit and learn from the experience. The gathering began and we all settled in, saying hello, sharing some stories and having a laugh. I had asked people to bring a golden shadow with them to work with. One person did, but mostly there were blank faces, stern posture and tight lips. I laughed to myself because if I had asked them to bring a shitty shadow to the gathering, they would have likely had a list as long as their arm. The resistance had begun. So I guided everyone in an exercise to discern a golden shadow. Some were surprised by what showed up. Then we moved into the main part of the event. My gatherings are based around a guided journey experience. I have trained in Yoga Nidra, NLP, and done years of shamanic journeying. I also have a knack for exploring and navigating my own inner world. For the astrology nerds, I will add that I have a stellium in the 4th house, which includes Neptune, with the galactic centre and great attractor activated. All this has helped me craft my skill for guiding others. When this part of the gathering happens, I watch as everyone settles down and gets comfortable with a sense of purpose and dedication. People who have worked with me for a while know that this is where the juiciness happens. And so he began. I enter an altered state when I guide journeys and meditations. I can sense what needs to be said. Usually. But for some reason, on this occasion, I went a bit blank. Apparently, I was also involved in the resistance that was permeating the collective field. Then one of the participants messaged in the chat to say she couldn't hear me. So I fiddled with some of the settings, and once it was confirmed that everyone could hear me, I tuned back in. I was still blank. I was saying things, but they didn't feel as familiar as they usually do. What I mean by this is that even though I am tuning in and saying what wants to be said in the moment, I have a feeling that it's already there and I'm just saying it. I already know it. This time I had no bloody clue what I was saying or if it made sense. To add to this, I could see one of the participants shifting about in an agitated way, lying down, sitting up, sometimes moving so abruptly her screen wobbled. Then my mic toppled over and smacked me in the mouth. I had moved closer to it and adjusted the stand to help with the sound issues. Something I found out later was of no consequence because when I had been setting up, I had changed the speaker settings to the laptop and somehow the mic settings changed as well, which meant it wasn't working. So I was basically chewing on a non-functioning microphone while my chair was squeaking because I was leaning on the edge of it to get close. And just for the crack, the neighbour was out cutting the grass with a petrol lawnmower the whole way through it. Fuck it, I thought. As a singer-songwriter, I know when this kind of thing happens, there's not much else to do but just keep going. And I was able to remain in the dimension that I enter to guide the journey. When it was complete, I guided everyone back and ended the journey, not expecting much to have unfolded for them in the mayhem. So I was surprised when everyone sat up and with focus and enthusiasm began writing, recording what they had experienced. They were writing for quite a while, so when the lawn mowing stopped, I lifted my guitar and began playing to soundtrack their writing process. When everyone was ready, we began sharing our experiences. It is not necessary to share, but often people find it helps integrate their experience, and there can be themes that show up in a group. I found out that they were unable to hear me most of the time because of the microphone issue. They could hear bits, but it was mostly distorted. However, I was surprised to learn how potent and rich their experiences were, despite this. One woman had a powerful release of something long buried in her heart. Another had an experience of an either-or scenario. Is it this or this? She was shown how it was both, this and this. In my own experience, embracing the power of paradox can be a beautiful relief. The last to share her experience was the woman who'd been shuffling and appeared agitated. It turns out she was agitated. Her being reluctant to share was part of the journey she had been on. Resistance had been the theme for her experience, and the dodgy sound had really added to this and actually gave more depth to her journey and what she received. I learned 2 powerful lessons from this experience. Firstly, in the instance of the last participant, the apparent fuck-up actually became part of her experience and helped her enter into it even more deeply. There was a lot of potency in what she received. It was edging her outside of her comfort zone. She was able to feel into and witness it more fully because of the fuck-up. So it really was part of the magic. Secondly, I learned the power of getting the mind out of the way and letting the process unfold. The participants in the gathering have been working with me for a while and receive my weekly Substack meditations and contemplations. This allows for a subtle, gradual shifting and building of the capacity to work in this way. They are familiar with the energetic frequencies and patterns that I cultivate, so they were able to tune in to those in this container and access what they needed, even though they could not hear clearly what I was saying. I also spend time cultivating the energetic space in the days before the actual event. There is an energetic principle at work that is beyond the logical dimension. If it feels a fuck-up is what is required, then a fuck-up we shall have. The fact that our logical minds couldn't control what was happening allowed for the bigger intelligence to do its work. I am Nina Sophia. I help people discern unhelpful lineage patterns and work with them creatively for healing and transformation, so they can begin to live the life they have always felt was possible but seemed out of reach. Visit ninasophia.me to find out more, to book a free clarity call and access some free resources. And if you join Sounds of Sophia as a paid subscriber, for £5 per month, you get access to live Zoom events with me at the solstices, equinoxes and cross quarters, along with regular mini meditations and contemplations that guide you to explore your inner world, get familiar with it, and begin to shape your reality to your liking. As well as learning two powerful things from this experience, it also perfectly illustrated something I already know and which is the foundation of the work I create. The people in the gathering could not clearly hear what I was saying, and yet they had extremely deep and meaningful experiences, receiving the information and medicine that will impact their lives. It is in the inner realms that the outer world begins to take shape. They are building the capacity and skill for this work, and everything they received during their journeys came from them, their own wisdom, their own guidance. I can create powerful energetic spaces and have a gift for guiding people as they navigate within, and it is an absolute joy and privilege for me. Even more so when I see people realizing that all the power, wisdom, answers and guidance they require are held within them, waiting to be discovered when the time is right.